What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Musty Yeti's Tactical HQ. Today we're going to be covering a part I just picked up that's going to start a new and exciting build. As my subscribers know, I live in Washington, a state which unfortunately doesn't allow SBRs. This part is going to help me with my current problem. So let's go ahead and bust this thing open and I'll tell you guys what I'm talking about here. Obviously from Amazon Prime, or from Amazon. I can't complain with 2-day shipping. Oh, there it is. Let's get this out of here. Cool. So what we're looking at here is the Sig Sauer SB15. Now I'm sure most of you know what this thing is, but for those of you who don't, this is the Sig arm brace, which so happens to function quite well as a buttstock. Now the way this thing is supposed to be used is you place your arm through this hole here, the arm cuff hole, and you strap it down tightly to your arm, and it helps stabilize your AR pistol to your arm. This was invented when a disabled vet went to the range, had some problems controlling his pistol, and was asked to leave by the range master. The vet then went home and started designing what you see here. Well, that's what we're being told anyways. When attached to the arm, it's not really ergonomical. It's hard to aim down the sight when it's on your arm, and the weight is still a big issue. I feel like the SBR succeeds as a buttstock, but fails as an arm brace. Well, that's what I gather from watching some videos on YouTube and reading some reviews. Before we get too far into this, let me just bust this thing open so we actually see what the part looks like. Maybe. There we go. It's a little heavier than I thought it would be, but there it is. Along with an extra strap, which I'm not going to bother keeping on camera here. This handy dandy letter, which we'll go over in a little bit. And an instruction manual for those of you who don't know how this thing is supposed to be used. So, when I first heard about this product, I bashed it, and I bashed it a lot. I thought the concept of an arm brace wasn't really practical or proficient, and I still don't. However, as I started doing some research on YouTube, I quickly changed my mind on this little piece. Now some of you guys might say that it's illegal to use this as a buttstock, that doing so changes the classification of a pistol into an SBR. Fortunately for me and everyone else, that just isn't the case. All of these Sig arm braces come with a letter from the ATF explaining that this is legal to place on a pistol, and doing so does not change the way the weapon was intended to be fired. I'll go ahead and annotate a video down the bottom right corner here, and also link it in the description below. It's a video that helped me understand the legal side of this. Like they say in the video, the key phrase there is when attached to the pistol, not to your arm. You guys want to know more? Go ahead and go check out that video. Another friend of mine from here in Washington State did a great job of visually explaining how it's legal to shoulder this arm brace by comparing it to a tool. He shows a wrench, a standard crescent wrench. He then uses it to beat a nail down into some wood. Now that wrench might do a damn fine job of pushing that nail down, but doing so does not change it into a hammer. It will always be a wrench no matter what you do. I'll go ahead and annotate his video down in this corner as well, and I'll link his channel in the description box below. Go over there and check it out, and you can actually see what I'm talking about. Just remember, guys, using the Sig arm brace as a buttstock is no different than sticking the pistol buffer tube against your shoulder. Doing that doesn't change the classification of the pistol whatsoever. Well, I think I pretty much beat that horse to death. Let's just see how much this sucker weighs. Now, if you guys remember back from my previous video, the Magpul CTR weighs, I think it was 12 ounces. So that should be a good basis of comparison in weight for you guys at home. So let's go ahead and get the scale out again that we've used multiple times here. Sorry for the glare. You'll have to trust me on the weight. Pounds and ounces. Let's go ahead and throw this thing over here. So it looks like it's 12 1/8 ounces or 12.125 ounces. Alright guys, so I went ahead and paused the video. I went back to my previous YouTube video and made sure I had the CTR weight correct. And it looks like the Magpul CTR stock is 9 ounces. So this sucker is 3 ounces heavier than your CTR stock. Just something to keep in mind if you guys are watching your weight on any rifle build. But what's nice, SBRs, everything's smaller, so it should pretty much balance out. So this thing is definitely a little bit heavier than I thought it would be. But at this point, I really don't care because this thing is getting me as close to an SBR as I'll ever be able to get. Now guys, a big thing to note here is no matter what you do not alter this arm brace whatsoever. Doing something like that could potentially change the classification of this piece. Do not add any material or padding to this thing. You gotta leave it just as it is. However, with that being said, you guys are going to notice that there is a little tab sticking out up front here, which is intended to lock into your base plate Along with that, there is a notch here at the top, which is a stopper to prevent your buffer tube from going any further back than that point. So for me, I'm going to order the longest buffer tube I can to place this thing a little bit further back as if it were in the second locking position on a CTR stock. But doing that would grant this locking piece pretty much useless. So I'm kind of considering contacting the ATF and seeing if it would be legal to just chop that part off, but I would not do anything without talking to them first. It's just for looks and probably isn't even worth the hassle. I guess the main thing to take away from this, guys, is a shorter buffer tube will most likely place the Sig arm brace flush with your receiver, which I do not want to do. I don't think you guys would want to do that either, so just keep that in mind. From the sound of it, these can be near impossible to install. You'll have to do whatever it takes to get this thing on. A rubber mallet, dry lube, or both combined. This is intended for a certain diameter of buffer tube. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'll look it up and I'll annotate it down in the bottom right corner here so you guys know what size buffer tubes will work with this Sig arm brace. Well guys, that about wraps it up. Obviously all the information I shared with you was learned from watching other videos and reading reviews. I haven't installed this thing yet to really speak to its comfort or efficiency myself. Pistols are known to have issues here and there, so I hope as we progress through this build we can find out what does and doesn't work in building a properly functioning AR pistol. And on a final note, I hope that all of you that are interested in or already own this piece, pray nightly that this stays legal. I'm afraid the SB15 might not be with us much longer once the ATF sees how this is really being used. Alright guys, I'm going to splice this in the video real quick because I forgot to talk about just the overall feel of this thing. I remember when I purchased this online, I was really curious on how firm these tabs were, if they were really loose, if they were firm rubber. But let me get this loosened up. And it's harder rubber than I thought it would be. This is definitely hard to pull apart. It's definitely solid. It's not flapping around or anything. So if you're like me and you're curious of the of how sturdy these straps are, I think they're going to function just fine when placed up against your shoulder. Yeah, look, it's not even really budging right there. So it's definitely harder rubber. Up top's softer, but all in all, I'd say this is a pretty hard and durable piece that's actually going to function quite well as a buttstock. Alright guys, I also forgot to mention a little something about this letter from the ATF. Now if I were you guys, if you go shooting with this thing, I would make sure you include this in your range bag, or just take a picture of it with your cell phone and have it on you at all times, because I can almost guarantee you that the majority of cops out there do not know that this thing is legal to put on a pistol. I can guarantee you, if they see this on a pistol, they're going to think it's a buttstock. They're going to come hassle you. So if you have this thing with you or on your phone, you can simply show it to him, he can read through it, and you can be clear to go. Alright guys, that's not something you have to do. I'm going to do it. I just think it's going to help prevent any future confrontations. But guys, that is about it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment box below. As usual guys, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.